Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about what it's like to be a straight white male at least in Australia, and I'm talking sort of downtown Sydney. What it's like to be a straight white male going into offices of big brand name companies. Now, there is a difference between a local organization, a local company or business that's, 100 employees or less, that type of thing. They're not huge. Maybe these often, not always, often tend to be in the upper end of the intellectual property spectrum, that type of thing. So they're in a competitive sector of the market. And so there you find a lot of straight white males. But in the bigger brand name companies and so on, and the big consulting firms, big financial end of town, that sort of thing, the white males, certainly in the sort of lower end to the upper end of the middle management bracket, have been squeezed out altogether. So when I go to these meetings for various reasons and associating or collaborating with various other groups to do this, I'm often now the only straight white male in the room. The majority of the people that have meetings with, if not all of them, are women, and there may only be a small proportion of those being white women. So white people have been squeezed out sort of pretty much altogether, unless they're lesbians. And if there is a male in there at all, he's either a soy boy or an Asian homosexual. That seems to be, you could almost, it's a cliche for fuck's sake, but that's really the state of things. But I just want to give you an idea of how hated on the straight white males are. Firstly, the distinct impression I get is that we're all treated like, we're Hitler. If you're a straight white male, and there's even a hint of a Christian, someone's got a little very discreet Christian cross on their suit lapel or something like that, then that's it. They're Hitler thrice at that point. And the treatment that we often get, and also the gotcha attempts, as if we come in for a contract, signed, sealed, delivered, signed off on, everything like that. We come in to do a contract, all agreed on how it's going to happen. And so we roll in and we're all guys, pretty much all of us anyway, guys in our 50s, or in my case, 60s. We're dressed in sharp suits. We're all straight white males. And we come in and you can see the decision, straight white males, they're all Hitler. They're all Nazis. They've probably got swastikas, on their underwear. And we've got to put these motherfuckers. We've got to show these motherfuckers that we, the moral ones, are in charge here. And the Nazis, are going to be put in their place. And it's that bad, really. It's that bad. Now we can, bow and scrape and grovel to try and avoid the inevitable confrontation that's going to come from that. And if you look at, say, that recent shooting in Minneapolis in the United States as an example, we've got the activists and the agitators saying the law doesn't apply, the rules don't apply to us. We can do what we want, and anything that goes wrong is your fault. You did it. You're the Nazis. We're the good people. And if you sort of transpose that into a business setting, that's often how we're treated. Now, I'm a stickler, as I've mentioned in other videos, for the contractual agreement. So if they do, in any of their attempt to sort of act tough or throw their weight around or do the ideological superiority thing, I'll whip out the contract, which I keep with me at all times. And I've read it, and I know, I know what's in it. And I'll whip out the contract and say, well, look, you're in contravention of the contract. But if you want us to go, that's fine. We will go at that door in seconds flat. So the problem of having all these Nazis around will be out the door in alleged, will be out the door in seconds flat. But you must pay us for you are obliged to pay us out for this contract. But we're happy to go if that'll make you happy. We don't want to pay you. We just want to embarrass you. We just want to push you around and slap you around, and we just want to remind you that we're the superior moral ones and you are the inferior Nazi. And where do you even get this attitude from? But when you see the activists who are trying to obstruct ICE in the United States, and all these sort of things, you can see the mentality. Now, just multiply that mentality across all the teachers in schools and all the HR departments and so on. But and all the affirmative action and diversity hiring, these people have been hired for ideological, moral reasons, or ideological reasons. Ideological fanatics have made the decision. Or it could be just straight white male, board of directors that just want to do the window dressing crap, the moral posturing and so on. But it doesn't matter. You've got all these people running around who've been indoctrinated to think that any straight white male is Hitler, and that's it. And if he's not Hitler, he holds ideas sympathetic to Hitler, so he has to be fucking dealt with and put in his fucking place. So anyway, so I just want to illustrate this is just how bad it is. Just finishing off on the other point, when I whip out the contract and say, okay, pay us out or fuck off, I don't use those words, then they back down at that point. So they just try it on. They're just having a go. And it doesn't work. It falls flat, and then they back off. Now, they may, sulk and get all sullen and have a long face, but the bottom line is there's nothing they can do. But I'm open. You pay us out and we'll go. Otherwise, get the fuck out of our way, and we're going to do what was contractually. You signed the contract, what was contractually agreed to. Now, I was in a meeting, and I had a flurry of meetings at the end of last year, late November into early December, and they've already kicked off quite early this year. So, I was at a meeting where there's 3 women. One of them's white. I don't think she's a lesbian, although she's rather butchy. But one white woman, 2 brown women, or a brown woman and an Indian woman, and yet another Asian homosexual male. I mean, God knows where they find these people. But now, I wouldn't employ any of them. If I was the CEO, I wouldn't employ any of them. They all behave like school teacher bureaucrats. All of them, school teacher bureaucrats, and none of them seem to have a fucking clue what they're doing. They can follow the ticker box thing, but that's about the extent of their capability. They're very much committee bureaucrat type people. Responsibility avoidance is at the top of their priority list. But I went in there. There was meant to be 3 of us went, but only 2 of us. Now, the guy I went with, who has in a very narrow area, he has a very narrow area of expertise, but really is flounders and is quite sort of out of sorts when he's not in that area, that narrow area of expertise. So I was meant to be, I had to carry the can for the rest of it. But these women who are clearly all hating straight white males, the guy I was with is a quarter black, and he dresses like he's one of the homeboys, for goodness sakes. And I was horrified when he turned up. You're going to be dressed like that? Are you kidding me? This is for a professional downtown city meeting, and again, he had this homeboy manner and everything. But he's a nice guy. I like him, but not suited for that sort of scenario. Anyway, he's there, and so we get so. I sort of introduced because this is out of his area of expertise. I introduced, well, this is what we're here for, and went through all that, and I could see the look on the faces of these women and the gay guy. They'd pre-decided that all straight white males are Hitler. That's it. There's no more discussion to be had. That's it. Doesn't matter what you say, do or don't do, think or don't think. That's it. You're predetermined as Hitler. And that sort of level of bigotry and prejudice was, they were staring fucking daggers at me. And then when it came to discussing the issues, they would, this is the pettiness of this. Seriously, are these schoolgirls? The pettiness of it, they would only look at, they didn't look at me, they would only look at and talk to the quarter black guy, the homeboy, dressed in his homeboy kit. That's the only, they would only look at him and talk to him. Even when it came to putting a question up that they knew he didn't know, and they knew that I would have to answer, they still only looked at him. They would give me a flickering glance if they had to, but that was it. And now we had no harsh words. We hadn't argued or thrown things at each other, or I hadn't been chased them around the room, or there was nothing there that would have provoked other than your prejudice. We've decided in advance that all straight white males are Hitler. Other than that, there's nothing there that would have encouraged or produced that sort of thing. Now we went through. I went through probably close to a couple of hours all up, and I had to endure that, which is it's just the irritation of dealing with snot-nosed children who are determined to behave this way. That was the irritation. But I had to hold my tongue. It was the company that we were working with. It's primarily their investment, and the homeboy was someone they'd subcontracted. So I couldn't, I couldn't compromise that, and so I had to bite my tongue and keep on smiling sweetly throughout. But that was the thing. In hours of this, they would only look at him and would only talk to him. Didn't even give me. Again, I got an occasional flicker of a glance, but that was it. And you can imagine the childishness and the prejudice and the bigotry that would go into that. I mean, really? I mean, seriously? But that's what's going on now. Now, there's a company that I also had another meeting with. This was quite a brief meeting, but I used to work for this company. Then it was acquired and bought out by another company. Now, when I was there, this was the only position women had was as typists and word processor operators, or junior level flunkies in the marketing department, that sort of stuff. That was it. And every managerial position, supervisory position, everything was straight white males, and no gay guys, no Asians, no. It was wall to wall straight white males. So that was how long was that ago? Getting on for 37 years ago, somewhere in that sort of range. Now going in there, have the meeting, it was like another universe. There is not a single straight white male in any managerial position. They've got a couple of the receptionists are now gay. There's a gay white guy and a gay Asian guy, the receptionists, and that. So everything's been absolutely reversed from what it was. Now, when you look at if I look at the amount of people I know, I'm aware of, who are either unemployed or underemployed, and they've made their money. It's not like they're on the bones of their ass or anything, but they're unemployed or underemployed, or people that are they've turned 65, they've kind of retired, but they're in tip-top physical condition, and they want to keep on working. They've got a wealth of experience. Some of them are very sharp guys. I mean, like you'd want to hire them. If they came knocking your door and said, "Look, I'm looking for a job," you go, "Hey, come in here." These are really good guys, and yet they can't find work. They're supposed to be, we've got a shortage of talent. There's no talent. There's no workers. There's no one to do anything. I mean, that is absolute fucking bullshit. There is an absolute shitload of capable and talent, again, straight white guys. So what we've got here is a mass immigration from brown and black countries. In Australia's case, mostly brown, or Chinese, Indian, that sort of thing, Indonesians, Filipinos, and mostly brown and or Asian people generally have been brought in, and the jobs that were held by straight white people, particularly middle management jobs, have pretty much all been gutted and either been given to any minority they can lay their hands on. And this is not the straight white males who've then gone on to a better job or a different job. It's not that most of them have been displaced into low-paying jobs or displaced altogether. So the amount of the millions of brown people been brought in, there haven't been millions of jobs created. Far from it. The amount of jobs that have been created are far less than the number of immigrants coming in. And what's taken out, if you like, the sort of heat in this is the gig economy, where talented, very talented straight white males have been given 3-month contracts here, or 3-month contracts there, or just a straight out gig economy. That's all it is. So, and again, I know quite a few people, and then maybe they work for 9 months of the year, in the gig economy, But these were people that would have had well-paid full-time jobs. Instead, I'm sitting in a room with these fucking women, mostly brown women, who have been gifted through affirmative action and diversity, equity and inclusion and gender quotas, race quotas, have been gifted these jobs they could not possibly have earned in a competitive hiring environment. And with the West is destroying itself, literally, by going down this path. You've been a Tacitus today, your pushback challenge. Thank you for listening.